20 acres in Republic, Washington. This is Okanagan County. My name is Miles McLaughlin here with Wilco Land. I'm rolling out a new property with you. In this video, I'm going to cover some FAQs. I'm going to talk about how to access the property, what I know about the property, and a few different things, that you can do with the property, and a little bit more about our business model. So here at Wilco Land, we offer raw, rural, vacant land, right, all over the United States. This property is located up here, just in like Northeast Washington. I've got it pinned here on a map. Let me give you a bird's eye view of where we're at. So northwest of Republic, pretty close to Oroville. Again, a beautiful area, not far from the Columbia River. Like I said, this is a rural part of the country, a lot of hunting, a lot of outdoor recreation, and people living off grid, right? Getting that, a vacation spot, or a camping spot, just something to have fun on the weekend, own a piece of America, essentially. There are some folks living up here and homesteading full time, so keep that in mind. Our photographer really loved this property. He had a lot of great things to say about it. You can see kind of what the road access looks like. But he loved it. He said, nearby are streams, rivers, creeks. The neighbors were super nice, and he had some additional information. Here's a stream. I can't remember if his note said that's on the property or not. I don't believe he mentioned it if it was on or off the property, but if it's on the property, that's a great addition to this piece of land. So, what we do here at Wilco is, offer these vacant properties in a more of a self-service model. So we've got a description here you can read about. A few key points I wanted to share from our photographer. He said power is everywhere. Again, take all this stuff with a grain of salt. They're not experts either, but a lot of poles and connections. Houses had wells. The neighbors were really friendly. You need to drill a well about 100 feet is all, and one had to drill 200. So he's talking about well depth here with the neighbors. One person's living off grid. He built his well, dug it by hand. He said he got water at 15 feet. So it sounds like the photographer met some of the neighbors and got some good intel in the neighborhood. 6 septic drain areas. Again, the properties were perking with ease. And had no issues. A couple other people had outhouses. So there were people with RVs up there, and they just haul out. And he was saying he's not sure how you get an RV up there, to be honest, but people had them. So it just depends. Everybody's interpretation of where you could drive an RV is going to be different. So the property view is amazing. There's cliffs, mountains, trees, old growth, water views, and easy access to water, rolling hills, and panoramic views of the whole area. So really great feedback. I wish some of the photos would have captured those views, but we can see some of that. We can see some of those power stakes and things like that. A lot of times locals will gate up these areas. So let me show you what we're looking at here on a map when it comes to access. And before I even get to access, I want to talk about land use really quick, and then I'll get into access. But the land use here is Rural 5. I've got the zoning information right here with the county. So simply click this link, and it's going to talk about what's permitted outright that you can do, what's conditional uses, right? That's going to require you to get an additional permit. So again, it talks about different usages with the property. So with that Rural 5, that's going to be super open zoning. In Okanagan County, they're for Washington State, you're going to be able to do a lot with this property. So again, read through that if you have questions about zoning. It sounds like camping's allowed, RVing is allowed. You're going to be able to build on the property if you want, whether it's on grid or off grid. It sounds like power is an option up there, and people do have septic and wells. So keep that in mind. There is road access, multiple access points is what our photographer said. My best advice back here in the mountains is to have Onyx Maps downloaded, or maybe Landglide, an app that's going to help you navigate the backcountry if you do lose cell phone connection. So prepare to lose cell connection and use our GPS coordinates. There will be some skills, to navigate this type of terrain that you're going to need. So here's our directions from the photographer. Take Cougar Creek Road, and take Sherrod Road from there. I'll double check some of this stuff, make sure this is accurate, but it gets back roads, gravel, dirt, and trenches. He took a Honda. So, you're going to be fine back there in an SUV or a pickup truck. The way you're going to access the property is simply using these GPS coordinates. So all I'm doing with these coordinates, I plugged them in here to Google Maps to give you a bird's eye view of where we're at here in the state of Washington. We're northwest of Spokane. The next thing, I'm using my favorite app for land visits. It's Onyx Maps. And I've got a blog on our blog page on how to use this for successful land visits. But what you're simply going to do is you're going to pull this property up on a map. Something I want to point out, this is all public land. This is Okanagan National Forest. And This is more of Okanagan National Forest. So you've got a lot of BLM land around you and National Forest, as you can see. So let me plug in these coordinates again, bring us back to the property. You can see here's Grove Spring Road running through the property. Here's Sheridan Road. Here's Cougar Creek Road. So this is probably the best access point right here coming in off this main road, which is Torado Creek Road. The Pacific Northwest Scenic Trail is right here. And it looks like you can head south on Cougar Road is what that is, Cougar Creek Road. And then you head over to Sheridan, so you hang left. And this looks like the simplest way to probably access. Then you come up through here on this gravel road, and that brings you right through the center of the property on Grove Spring Road. So that's what appears to be the best access route. Here's another route. You could take this Sheridan Road past the property, it appears almost, and maybe come up from down here. But I think that just goes into somebody's residence right here. So, the photographer explained multiple access routes. I don't know where that's coming from. Maybe there's something up north, but it looks like all these landowners back here are, or at least a couple of them are using, this access route to come into their properties up here. This is going to be state of Washington. So public land to the east, that is. And, again, there is this access road coming right through our property. So I'm not seeing multiple access routes. Obviously, when you're out there in person, things may be different. So I'm using the Onyx Maps app. When you walk the property, if you look at my mouse here, my cursor, the little dot on your phone, the GPS tracker, just like when you're on Google Maps driving somewhere, putting somebody's address in, if you walk the property, you're going to be able to walk it just like this. And the cursor, that little dot's going to follow you around on the property. And I have property lines in here. I have the upgraded version, which you can do a free week trial. But really, you're just going to your map layers, and you're going to go to Washington, for example, and you're going to go to private lands and make sure that's on. And that's going to make these red lines show up. That's going to show property boundaries. So and then you can download offline maps here, and you can download those, right? So that when you lose cell phone connection out here, you've got a map of this whole area, and you can zoom in and look at the roads and whatnot and where you're going. So that's my best piece of advice for going to visit something like this. We've got a lot of state land. You can see it all colored in the gray there. This would be a great spot for a hunting cabin, a great spot for an off-grid vacation place. So whatever you're into, you don't see a lot of land deals like this out here in the boonies with very little restrictions. So again, Miles McLaughlin here at Wilco Land. Give us a call. Let me know if you have questions, 605-250-1256. I do have more listings here on the website for you to take a look at. So thanks for viewing.